Bose model with those three dynamical symmetries, they are not always obeyed by the realistic spectrum. And many nuclei are sort of in between those limits. And so there are many things which need to be corrected. For example, this beta gamma degeneracy of SU3 is not always obeyed. Not all deformed bands exhibit an exact L+1 splitting as the SU3 would be. The anharmonicity is usually dictated by the leading Casimirs and are essentially given like so, and the data, as I will show, does not always respect it. And finally, quantum phase transitions certainly requires mixing of different chains. So for all those considerations, it is clear that one needs to break the exact dynamical symmetry, and the key question is how. Now, of course, the way to do that is to mix different chains, but if we do that, then we lose all this property of solvability in analytic spectrum. And the question is, can we break the symmetry, but in a very particular way, so that at least some of the states, not all, but some of them, will still respect the symmetry and solvability while other states will mix. And this question is also very much relevant if we want to add higher order terms. If we go to higher order terms, there are many parameters, and it becomes a key question which of them to choose in order to break the symmetry. So these kind of considerations are actually serving as the motivation to look if we can find a situation in which we have a partial dynamical symmetry. Partial dynamical symmetry means that those properties are obeyed, but only for part of the states, not by all of them. Now, the next question is how to construct Hamiltonians with such properties. So a way to do that is to look again at a given chain. If we can find an n-particle annihilation operator that annihilate all the states in a given sigma naught representation, if we can find it, that's the question. But if there is such an operator, then clearly, if I construct the Hamiltonian on those objects, they will have the property that those states will continue to be solvable. Now, the way to find such operators is actually to look at the conical product of the property of the operator, sigma, times the property of the state, sigma naught. And if in the decomposition of that conical product, those representations are not part of the, say, the U6 algebra, then that condition is met, and we have this situation. And once we have this Hamiltonian, we can again add it to the dynamical symmetry Hamiltonian, and this Hamiltonian then has part of the states, which are those states in that particular representation as solvable, but other states can be mixed. So let me demonstrate this with the SU3 chain. Here we can find two operators which have the lambda mu character of 0,2. And these operators have the property that they annihilate all the states in the given 2n, 0 representation, which is a ground band representation. So clearly, if I have such an operator and I look at that Hamiltonian has the ground band as an exact, the states of the ground band are solvable. But that Hamiltonian is not an SU3 scalar. So it can mix with other states. In fact, it becomes a scalar only when those coefficients are equal, but if they are not equal, that Hamiltonian is not an SU3 scalar. Nevertheless, it has a solvable subset of states. In fact, it turns out that not only the ground band is solvable, also all the states in those representations which define the multiple gamma band with maximal K projections continue to be solvable with such Hamiltonians. And so the bottom line is that this Hamiltonian has a subset of states with good SU3 symmetry, which are the states in these bands, but other states are mixed. Here's an example of an application of this concept. Here is a spectrum of LV168. That's the dynamical symmetry with degenerate beta-gamma bands. This is not seen in the spectrum. Here is a spectrum of the partial symmetry. Again, no need for those two bands to be with good SU3, nor degenerate, and you can get a very good description of these two bands. Here is the PE2 transitions connecting the gamma band. I remind you that the gamma band and ground band are solvable, so these ratios are completely independent of any parameters, and they are obeyed very clearly by the data. Now, we've seen an example where the ground and gamma bands are with good SU3. And the question is, can we have other situations? For example, that the beta band with a good symmetry and the gamma band will not. It turns out that you can have it by going to higher order terms. So just like I've constructed these two operators for the two-body case, I can construct those SU3 tensors, and all those operators have the property that they annihilate all the states in the ground. Now, again, as before, for particular ratios, those interactions are related to the Casimir. Here again, for particular ratios, for example, this piece, which is the SO3 scalar, it is related to the cubic Casimir. But if you take an arbitrary Hamiltonian like that, only those states have good SU3, while other states are mixed. And so, once we go to higher order terms, there is a very rich structure. For example, we have a dynamical symmetry which now has a cubic and a quadratic Casimir. We have this interaction that has only the ground band with good SU3, while other bands are mixed. And for particular choices of coefficients here, you can have the situation that we encountered before, ground and gamma band soluble, beta band is mixed. But we can also have a situation that the ground and beta band is soluble while the gamma is mixed. In fact, a very interesting property here is, as you know, if you go to cubic interaction, there is an operator which can be constructed out of the generators. That operator is, of course, diagonal in lambda mu. It breaks the K-degeneracy. And quite interesting, this operator is actually can be expressed in terms of these two things, these two types of partial symmetries. So what I'm trying to say is this omega operator, which people have been looking at, is actually part of that scheme that I'm talking about. Now, why is that needed? Why do we need to go to higher order terms? Here is the Gadolinium 156, which was considered from the early days a good example of SU3. That's taken from the IBM book. Indeed, it gives a good description of the spectrum, and it provides a very good description of the ground and the beta band. However, if you look closely at the gamma band, you'll find that it has a considerable odd even staggering, which is very, very difficult to describe. You see, if the spectrum is just able to